I'm Maria. I've been challenged to take a common food and make it fancy.
Oh, wow.
Can you tell what I made fancy from?
This might be my favorite one you've done yet.
Hi, I'm Maria. I'm a tasty producer. Today, as always, I've been challenged to take a common food and make it fancy. Let's see what we are making fancy today. Drum rolls. Chicken noodle soup. As you can guess, I've never tried this before. Andy Warhol designed one of his artwork based on this. It's very cool packaging. I love soup in general, but I don't eat canned soup. I think in the States you guys eat when you guys are sick, right? So here it's chicken, bunch of like noodles. It's not bad. Just a very bland flavor. Color is very yellow and very chickeny. So I think it's very challenging because we have broth, we have noodles, we have chicken, we have 3 ingredients, and I have to use everything. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I'm still excited to make it fancy. All right, here's what I got. Ground pork, scallions, ginger, garlic, shiitake mushroom, toasted sesame seeds, napa cabbage, and gelatin powder. From the pantry, I got bread flour, cake flour, cornstarch, sugar, salt, rice vinegar, soy sauce, sesame oil, and magnum-sized sake is back. Okay, let's get started. Make it fancy. So first, I will need 1 teaspoon of gelatin, 1 tablespoon of water, and I'm going to sprinkle. We call it bloom, the gelatin. It's basically activating gelatin. Wait for 5 to 10 minutes, set this aside. Open this canned chicken soup. If you are sick, I don't think you can open this can.
That's why your mother opened it.
Can somebody open for me? Help me, Mom. Thank you. I want to separate soup and noodles and chicken, so I'm going to strain this. Instructions said add a cup of water. It's a little bit condensed. And I'm going to need 2/3 of the cup of mixture, adding the chicken soup, 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. It's heating up, so add bloomed gelatin. Make sure it dissolved well. Simmer it for 2 to 3 minutes. Gelatin is dissolved and soup is boiling. Whisk it and transfer to a bowl. So you want to cool this to room temperature, and you are going to put in the refrigerator about 1 hour until it sets. So next step, separate noodles and chicken. There is not many chicken pieces, so I'm gonna just pick it. I'm going to use this with another ingredient. 1 cup of cornstarch. And you kind of want to coat each piece of noodle with cornstarch, so use your gloves or use your tongue. If you don't mind your hands get dirty, just use your hand. Put in a strainer. Going to take small amount and shake it off. I have frying oil heated up to 350. So you want to fry this until it's golden brown, 3 to 5 minutes. I like the sound, like whoosh. So as you can see, when bubbles start coming down, it's almost done, but I think visual cue is the color when you're frying stuff. In Japan, we say kitsuneiro for golden brown color for cooking. Kitsune means fox, when it gets like nice foxy color. Take this off. You want to season fried food when it's still hot, so salts kind of melt. I'm going to fry rest of the noodles in batches and move on to next step. I need 100 grams of bread flour and 25 grams cake flour, half teaspoon of sugar, half teaspoon of salt, whisk, and I have 1/3 cup of hot water. So once it comes together, use my hand and start kneading. Once it's like come together, it's gonna be smooth and like a baby bath. Sprinkle a little bit of cake flour on the surface. Gonna knead. It's nice and bouncy. Put this in a bowl, cover with plastic, and rest this for 30 minutes. I have 4 scallions to chop. Save a little bit for topping later. The rest of it combine with pork. We have 5 ounces of pork.
All right, Ray, it's 2 months into the new year. Have you approached the highway?
I told you, we have full year. I'll get there, don't give me any pressure. 2 shiitake mushroom, remove the stem, make it super fine, out in the bowl. You can use petty knife to peel the ginger, but ginger's skin is super soft, so you can use spoon. And so maybe this is an easy task if you have kids at home and if you're cooking together, or if you are kids and if you're cooking with your mom. Great, ginger. You don't need to be too precise, but I will need about 1 teaspoon of ginger, kind of mask like porky flavor. If you don't have microplane, you can just chop finely. And garlic. I'm using 2 cloves of garlic. So 1 teaspoon of sake, 1 teaspoon of soy sauce, 1 teaspoon of sesame oil, half teaspoon of salt. Combine a little bit. Those are the chicken we saved from the noodle. There's only 6 pieces. But if you're sick, you don't want to eat anything chunky, so maybe it's a good thing. Make it mix well and nice. I feel like chicken disappeared somewhere. Cover this with plastic, put it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to use it later. The dough is rested and nice and elastic, soft like a baby back. Sprinkle some cake flour, roll out to a long log and cut into 2, cut into 5. And I have meat fillings and soup jelly. I'm going to roll out and assemble as I go. You should roll the dough and fill as you go. Half tablespoon of this filling. Don't overfill because it's gonna be difficult to make the shape. Pick one side, fold, fold, and keep folding. It's kind of like drapes. And once you finish, you just pinch the top part, labor of love. I'm not pro of making dumpling, but if you go to like dim sum restaurant, there's a people who is really good at doing it. And this is baby one, it's much smaller. If you are doing by yourself, it's a little too much, but if you have like 2 or 3 friends making together, one person is rolling, one person is filling, one person is, shaping, and that's gonna be really fun winter activity. I think it's not perfect, but I think it's really cute. I'm going to finish rest of this and I'm going to move on to next step. So we have Napa cabbage, break it. This is going to be like a natural parchment paper. And we are layering Napa leaf into a bamboo steamer. If you don't have bamboo steamer, you can just use regular steamer, layer the dumpling. You don't want to make it too close together because it will stick together, but it doesn't expand. So just like make enough room each other. Gelatin will melt in certain temperature, so it's going to become just a soup. Close the basket, put on top of the pot. You want to use the pot a little bit smaller than the basket, so it kind of settles well. You steam this about 10 to 12 minutes, and meanwhile, I'm going to do something else. I have more ginger, and I'm going to peel really quick. 3 tablespoons of soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of rice vinegar. Put ginger, and this is going to be the dipping sauce. So this is the fried noodle we made earlier. Still crunchy and nice. It's already seasoned with salt. Put it in a bowl. Toast this sesame and the scallion I kind of saved. So this can be a fun appetizer or snacks. And I'm gonna just put on a plate and I'm done. And it's very nice and very fancy. Welcome, Andrew, for another Make It Fancy episode.
Thank you for having me back, even though I'll never do the dance. Dumplings.
Yes.
I see we have another bowl of stuff over here. I'm not sure what this is though.
Do you want to eat this first? It's appetizer. It's a snack.
Is it a fried noodle?
Yes.
Dip?
Yeah,
One bite?
maybe.
Mmm.
Sorry.
It's good.
Yay! The soup bursted in your mouth.
It did burst in my mouth. It was quite hot. Is the soup the thing you made fancy?
It's not just soup.
Oh, noodle soup.
Yes, chicken.
Chicken noodle soup.
Yes.
Oh, you chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
Wow. This might be my favorite one you've done yet. You're like Andy Warhol.
Yes.
I would never have thought to do this.
Do you feel like doing dance now? Since you
How
were
does the
so
dance go?
impressed?
I don't even remember because I've never done it.
Make it fancy.
Make it fancy.
It's the best dance you ever done.
It's like a Harry Potter spell.
Welcome, Aria.
Thank you for having me again.
You look a little bit different today.
Yes, I've got my piercing going on. A while ago, I did a video where I got piercing. Do you like it, Rie? Oh, wow. I love dumplings,
Yes.
right? I love dumplings. I love dim sum.
Just go for it. It's good, right?
That's very good.
Yeah. I think you can go like one bite.
I'm gonna one bite, baby.
It's a little big, sorry. Maybe not. I'm sorry. You didn't need to do that.
Wow.
Every time.
This is the best thing you've made me.
Yes! This is something American people eat when they're sick.
Like chicken noodle soup.
Yes.
Chicken noodle soup. That is so impressive. I don't know how you do it. I don't know how she does it. I'll kill you someday. Make it fancy.
Hi, I'm Rie. I'm a tasty producer. Today, I've been challenged to take a common food and make it fancy. Let's see what we are making fancy today. Fruit Loops. As you can guess, I've never tried this before. Growing up, I eat a lot of Cocoa Puffs. I'm hoping it tastes like fruit. I hope different color has a different flavor. Look like a pile of poison. Doesn't taste like fruit. It's all same flavor. I like the crunch. Internet likes colorful dessert. It can be really pretty. It's not too bad, but maybe if you're eating bunch, it might be a little bit too sweet. So color is actually cute and very festive, so I think we can make some fun dessert. I'm excited to make it fancy. Right, here's what I got. Butter, heavy cream, eggs, and milk. From the pantry, I got cornstarch, salt, vanilla extract, sugar, flour, white chocolate, food coloring, and brandy. Okay, let's get started. Make it fancy. First step, I'm going to use Fruit Loops, and I just realized fruit spelled like F-R-O-T, not like fruit. It's just like a meme, if you know what I'm talking about. 4 cups of Fruit Loops, 3 cups of milk.
That's a big breakfast.
I also don't know like what is the appropriate amount of cereal you have to eat for breakfast. Sometimes like just bowl of cereal doesn't look like enough. So I'm heating up medium-high heat, kind of extract more flavor from Fruit Loops. As soon as little bubbles coming from the milk, that's ready, just don't boil the milk.
Rie, do you recognize the bird on the box?
No. Is he famous?
He's famous. So his full name is Toucan Sam.
I used to have a bird that talks, like parakeet, like little one. He came to my grandma's yard and she kept it. And I think it was bird from some sort of station. It says like, next stop is such and such. I know the little bird that talks, they're smart. Milk is simmered, I'm going to pour over and gently push so there's no dry spot. Steep this about 1 hour and we are moving on to next step. 2 cups of Fruit Loops. So you kind of want to make it like a pebble, like this size. So I'm going to just use like big piece for later. Sugar part is going to go through the mesh sieve. If you don't have a food processor, you can just put it in bag and crush them with rolling pin or something, right? What you have, weapon of your choice. It's kind of pretty, it's like fairy dust. And moving on to the next step. Okay, so we've been steeping Fruit Loops for 1 hour. We are going to strain. It's kind of jiggling. Sounds like you are stepping into the puddle. Half cup of cereal milk, half cup of water, and we're gonna save this later. I'm going to use 1 stick of butter and cut it small sizes so it melts faster. And 2 teaspoons of sugar. Melt all the ingredients. The color is not as good as I was hoping for, but I think we have some idea to fix. Everything is melted. So I'm adding 1 cup of flour, medium heat. Dough is kind of shiny and it's kind of formed into like one big blob. Take off the heat and you want to wait this dough cool to touch about 5 minutes. So dough is cool down. Add egg 1 by 1. I think we will need 4 eggs, but it depends on the consistency. Mix it. You have to make sure all the egg is absorbed. Second, if you have a stand mixer, you can use stand mixer with a paddle attachment. It's an expensive machine, so I just want to show you how to do it by hand. The dough has to be a little bit runny, and I'm gonna go for 4 eggs. I think we might need 1 more. I'm cracking 5th egg, but I think I'm gonna use just a half first. Eggs come in different shape, so consistency is the indicator, not the amount of egg. Let's test it. You kind of bring out the dough. I think it still need just a little bit. Whew. It's a good workout. Yeah, like that. That's a good texture. 1/4 cup of crushed Fruit Loops. Pretty, look. It became gray to rainbow. Put this in a piping bag and put the piping tip and twist and insert and bend so when you put the dough, it doesn't overflow. It's alive! I'm going to pipe this dough onto the baking sheet. I spread oil underneath of the parchment paper so it sticks to the pan. Brush water into the paper. So it helps parachute to puff up without drying up. To make sure each dough has enough room because it's gonna rise. So when you're squeezing, you don't want to squeeze from here. You kind of want to squeeze your dominant hand on the top. And also you don't need to do like swirl. You just have to steady pipe. We made a parachute at the culinary school. Also, this was maybe my first pastry I made with my mom. I love making parachute. I like the transformation. I sometimes even wait in front of the oven so I can see when it puffs up. And this is ready.
Great, you're fast.
Oh, I've seen faster. Whoever doing this like as a professional level, they are so fast. Cool, cute. So you don't want this point, so you wet your finger with water and kind of make it flat. And this moisture also helps this puffs up. I like this, it's cute. Missing round is cute. So I was a little bit worried because when we steep Fruit Loops, it was gray. But now because of the egg and because of the crushed Fruit Loop, it looks very festive and cute. It looks almost like a funfetti cake. So this is the egg wash leftover. I think we don't have enough, so I'm gonna add a little bit water. It kind of gives a shine when you finish baking. So we are going to bake this at 400 Fahrenheit for 20 minutes and then lower the heat to 350 Fahrenheit. Bake for 10 to 15 minutes until golden brown. When you're baking, don't open the door. If you open the door, it won't rise. So I have reserved Fruit Loop infused milk, heat it up, 2 egg yolks, 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm gonna mix it until pale. This is a little bit crucial part when you're making custard. You have to make sure the sugar is absorbed into egg yolk, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So milk is start bubbling, add just a little bit, so you're kind of tempering. Put gentle stream, bring this back to a pot, turn on the heat and cook this until it is thickened. You want to consistently mix with rubber spatula because it will burn if you don't do that, or it's become like cardles. Pastry cream is done, transfer to a bowl. Not the prettiest color, but we're gonna fix it. You want to make sure the plastic is touching to the custard so it doesn't form a skin. Chill this until completely cool, about 30 minutes. And it's not pretty. Let's make it pretty. 1 tablespoon of brandy. Just mix it. Separate this into 3. I usually avoid using food color, but this color is a little bit off-putting. I like the kind of color for Fruit Loops, so I'm adding a little bit of food color. We have pink, we have blue, and we have purple.
Ray, what's your favorite color?
You know, it's difficult to pick your favorite color. Whenever people ask me that question, I don't have the answer. But I tend to choose like earth tone color for my clothing and red for like accessories. Set this aside. I'm gonna whip some cream. I'm gonna start with 1.5 cup. I know there is one person on Instagram, he made at least 3 or 4 things from Make It Fancy. We should give him a prize. Perfect consistency. So cream is whipped, it's a stiff peak. Add to custard mix. It's just 1 big scoop, it's like eyeball. Okay, the fillings are ready and I'm going to use this piping bag. This is a special kind of tool. If you don't have it, you can just make 1 color. I want to make like unicorn effect. So I got special tool that makes 3 color cream. 1 done, and 2 done, 3 done. Put them together. So I'm gonna set this aside and move on to the next step. All right, look how cute it is. Perfectly puffed up. I'm going to cut top part. You can see the Fruit Loops inside. Pipe, very unicorny. I'm very happy. If it's not hollow enough, you can just push the inside part. Look how pretty they are. I don't know, I don't like eating colorful food, but I like making colorful food. Dip white chocolate, it's melted. Put like a hat and put Fruit Loop. I'm topping with Fruit Loops because it kind of gives nice poppy color and adding more flavor and more texture. So cute. I'm very happy. It's the cutest thing I've ever made on this show. I'm gonna put it on the plate. This looks great and we are done. They are unicorn Fruit Loop cream puffs. Welcome back, Jasmine.
Thank you.
Can you tell what I made fancy from?
Can I smell it?
Yeah.
Fruit Loops?
Yes. Can you tell the difference between Fruity Pebbles and Fruit Loops?
Well, that's why I asked to smell it.
Oh, it's
Yeah,
different?
I can smell the difference. Fruity Pebbles smells a little more like juicy, and then Fruit Loops smell a little tangier.
But you have a good smell.
Yeah, people like think I'm a dog.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My hunch is that you made cereal cream puffs
Yes.
with a whipped filling and a donut icing top of some sort.
Yeah.
Mmm. This is delightful, very fancy. I love it.
Thank you.
Some rainbow foods are so saturated to the point where they taste chemically sweet. This is light, fluffy, nice crunch with this cereal. It's heavenly. Fruit Loop everything, but not too overpowering.
So Jasmine, did I
Yeah.
make Hi. Did I make Fruit Loop fancy?
Yes, you did.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make it fancy! Hi, I'm Rie. I'm a tasty producer. Today, I've been challenged to take a common food and make it fancy. Here's today's rules. You must completely use the food given. You can only add to the food. You can buy whatever ingredients you wish. Let's see what we are making fancy today. Tater tots. I've tried this before and I think it's delicious. The first time I saw this, it was in a movie called Napoleon Dynamite. I really like those. It's just very simple potato and salt and fry. But I haven't tried them for a long time, so I want to refresh my memory. Cute. Delicious. I like this because it's crunchy, salty, potatoey. So this is delicious as it is, but this is not too fancy. So I want to transform this something very impressive. Okay, I've got some great ideas and I'm excited to make it fancy. Right, here's what I got. Dried porcini mushrooms, onion, rosemary, garlic, thyme, shiitake mushrooms, butter, ground lamb, heavy cream, carrot, and eggs. From the pantry, I got beef stock, flour, salt, pepper, non-stick spray, Worcestershire sauce, and red wine. Okay, let's get started. Make it fancy. First, we are going to soak porcini mushroom. I have 1 cup of hot water. This is 1 ounce dried porcini mushroom. Soak this about 30 minutes. Set this aside and start chopping vegetables.
Do you have a favorite kind of mushroom?
I've never met mushroom I didn't like. There is an expensive mushroom in Japan though called matsutake. It costs about $100 per mushroom. Fragrance is really strong and it's very good. We are mincing onion like small dice, and I'm going to just peel. This is the skinniest carrot I've ever seen. Cut the same size as the onion. They are going to be in the same pot, so I'm going to just mix together. Mushroom is soaked, so you want to use the soaking water later, so don't discard. Chop mushroom, kind of similar size with onion and carrot. It's softened, so it's easier to cut. We also have shiitake mushroom. Remove the stem, so we are just using this part. You want to cut all the ingredients almost the same size so it cooks evenly. We are using different mushroom because it has a different texture and a different flavor. So all the shiitake mushroom is cut. Cut garlic next. I have a lot of knife at home, but the one I use the most is the chef's knife, and this is petty knife. Petty knife is good knife when you are cutting small things like garlics or like cutting fruits. So if you want to start cooking, I highly recommend to get chef's knife and petty knife first. Those are ready to go, and we are moving on to next step. Heat up olive oil, medium high, add ground lamb. So you kind of want to make it small pieces, so using wood spatula and break the meat, cook it until it changes color. I'm using lamb for this recipe. If you don't have lamb, you can use ground beef seasoned with salt and pepper. You can see a lot of oil come from lamb, so you want to drain it after. Okay, so it looks good. The reason you drain the oil, you don't want to make the final dish super greasy. So next, we are going to use the same pan, but you want to wipe the excess grease. Add a little bit olive oil, saute vegetable, onion and carrot first. Season with a little bit salt. When you're cooking a lot of vegetables, season one by one, so you kind of layering the flavor. If you sprinkle salt on onions or carrot, it kind of helps soften faster. Okay, so onion is softened, shiitake mushroom, porcini mushroom, and garlic. And I'm sauteing with medium until all the ingredients get softened for about 7 to 8 minutes. I tend to put garlic toward to the end because sometimes it gets burnt. Add some thyme, a little bit more salt, and I'm adding back the lamb, half cup of wine, 2 tablespoons of flour. I added red wine because it's go well with lamb and it adds depth of flavor. And add 2 cups of beef stock. We are also adding Worcestershire. 2 tablespoons. Bring this to a boil and reduce the heat to simmer. Simmer about 20 to 30 minutes until the sauce thickens. Okay, so sauce has been thickened. It's a good consistency. Transfer to ring mold. So you want to spray the mold with a little bit oil and spoon the filling into the mold. If you don't have ring mold, you can just put it in a bowl or ramekin. Flatten it with spatula, so it's easy when you are a mold. You set this aside. You're moving on to next step. Tater tots time. 1 pound of tater tots and put it in a steamer box. Put the lid back on top and steam this about 10 to 12 minutes. Okay, it's been 10 minutes. Transfer this into a bowl. I'm adding in potato racer. Somehow a lot of cooking tool look like a torture device. It's making weird noise. When you make mashed potato, you want to use this one so you can make like nice creamy mashed potato. Tater tots is a little bit grainy and I wanted to make smooth mashed potato kind of texture.
Ray, guess where tater tots are from?
Isn't it America?
Yes.
Yeah. I think tater tots is really cute name. You cannot beat that. If you don't have potato racer, you can use potato masher or you can use fork. But don't use food processor because it makes potato very gummy. 2 tablespoons of heavy cream, 4 tablespoons of melted butter. I'm going to use 2 egg yolks. And I learned tater tots is scraps from French fries, so it's no waste food, which is great. Tasty, no wasty. And season with salt, mix everything evenly, combine well, and I'm moving on to the next step. We have this potato mixture and I have piping bag. You can kind of twist and insert piping pack so it doesn't drip, or you can use something tall like a glass. You kind of want to pipe this. I'm kind of experimenting with style. You can also do kind of like lines. So if you don't have a mold or if you don't have piping bag, you can just use casserole. It doesn't need to be fancy, but this show is making fancy, so I'm making fancy. So I'm going to bake this in an oven 375 Fahrenheit for 20 to 25 minutes until potato is golden brown. I will need 2 cups of beef stock. Whoop, 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 whoop. And using reserved mushroom soaking water, you want to strain through mesh sieve so it catches those like sands and stuff. 1 cup of soaking water, 3 sprigs of thyme, and garlic. You don't need to chop this, you just like want to smash it. Bring it to a boil and reduce to simmer and reduce this sauce by half so the flavor is concentrated. Okay, so sauce is reduced by half. As you can see, the color is darkened. Add butter to thicken the sauce. I'm adding 2 tablespoons of butter and make sure you use the cold butter to emulsify the sauce. If you use warm butter or if you use melted butter, the sauce won't be emulsified and it will break. I'm adding 1 more and you want to whisk constantly. Since we use thyme and garlic, you want to strain. Sauce is done and we are moving on to the next step. So we baked about 25 minutes. The potato looks golden brown, it looks delicious. So I'm going to plate it, make it pretty, rather too fancy. Transferring this sauce to little gravy pot, moment of truth. And the final touch, top of the rosemary, and we are done. Tater tots shepherd's pie, very fancy. Ryan,
Rie.
welcome to Tater Tots Wonderland.
Tater Tot Wonderland. Cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love tater tots.
Yeah.
Tater tots have always been with me, and when they haven't been with me, I have sought them out.
What do you think? Like, what is this?
I think that's like, it looks like a succulent. It looks like sweated onions. Yeah, that's right.
What do you taste?
Beef. Right? No? Chicken? Beef.
No, why you?
Lamb!
Yes!
Make it
fancy. Right, Katie? Can you guess what I made fancy today?
It looks like shepherd's pie, but I can't tell from here what you've made fancy.
Yeah,
So is this like a gravy?
Yeah.
I can only tell right now that it looks like mashed potatoes on the top. It's the best shepherd's pie I've ever had.
Yes!
But I've only had like Trader Joe's and it's not shepherd's pie. But when I eat the top part alone, it tastes a little bit like hash browns.
Yes!
And I don't know, is it
Yeah, Walmart.
is it a tater tot?
Yeah!
Do I get $1 million?
Yeah.
That was delicious.
Thank you.
Can I just take the rest?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's like my bedtime.
Yeah, but
My bedtime?
you eat shepherd's pie in bed.
I don't eat in bed. I have eaten food in bed. Rie made these tater tots fancy. Make it fancy. Make it fancy.
Hi, I'm Rie. I'm a tasty producer. Today, as always, I've been challenged to take a common food and make it fancy. Let's see what we are making fancy today. Drum rolls. Eggos. As you can guess, I've never tried this before. But I know about Eggos because I watch Stranger Things. The waffle is also popular in Japan, so I can probably guess what kind of flavor it will be. My favorite kind of waffle is crunchy outside and it's a little bit fluffy and chewy inside. Eggo seems like very thin. My concern is Eggo would be a little bit drier side. Look cute. To look like a pancake from cartoon. It's hard. It's very crispy. It's a little dry, but syrup definitely helps. I like the design of it. It's cute, it's round, my favorite shape. So it's very thin. I like my waffle a little bit fluffier. This is almost eating a cookie. Back of the box have some suggestions like breakfast sandwich. I think we should make it more fancy. I've got some great ideas, so as always, I'm excited to make it fancy. All right, here's what I got. Bananas, heavy cream, butter, and eggs. From the pantry, I got milk, vanilla extract, cream of tartar, sea salt, powdered sugar, cornstarch, bourbon, and brandy, double alcohol. All right, let's get started. Make it fancy. So first, separating 4 eggs.
I've seen you crack a lot of eggs. I don't think I've ever seen you get shell.
Oh, maybe today's the day. Always crack the egg on a flat surface. One of my pastry chefs taught me how to crack, like tap against each other. This way you don't make a mess on the surface like I did. I'm going to use egg whites later, and now I'm just going to use egg yolks, 3/4 cup sugar, 1/3 cup of cornstarch, and 4 cups of milk. Turn on the heat to medium-high. You have to keep whisk it until it bubbles. About 10 minutes, you don't want any lumps. Okay, so it looks great. Reduce the heat to low and whisk another minute or so. It's got much thicker. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of butter. Whisk it until butter is completely melt.
Ray, can you guess what the original name of Eggos was?
I assume something with waffle.
Waffles.
Oh, okay.
Frozen waffles.
Oh, ruffled. It's kind of cute. Can be a cute dog name. Butter is completely melted. Transfer to glass bowl. You want to strain this because you want to have a smooth pudding. Put plastic, kind of touching the surface so it doesn't form any skin on the surface. This is a little hot right now, so you want to make it room temperature and then keep it in the fridge. And we are moving on to next step. 1 cup of sugar, 1/4 cup of water, and you just start once. Just make sure everything is kind of wet. Turn on the heat to high medium. Once you start cooking, don't touch it because it's gonna crystallize. So you just want to heat until this sugar turns like a copper color. So the caramel looking good, nice color, and you wanna turn off the heat and add 1/2 cup of cream. Do this off the heat because once you add the cream, it bubbles up. And you're gonna whisk. 1/4 cup of butter. When you are making caramel at home, be careful because it's really hot. To finish this step, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of sea salt, 1 teaspoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of bourbon. I personally don't drink whiskey or bourbon, but this makes very nice bourbon caramel. So that was first of our 2 alcohols. Check. Bourbon caramel is ready. Set this aside and let's move on. 1 cup of heavy cream, 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar. When you are whipping cream with sugar, powdered sugar works better because it melts faster. And as always, I'm whisking by hand.
Maria, I feel like handmade whipped cream is your trademark.
Alcohol and hand whipped cream. Normally I like soft peak, but today I'm going for stiff peak. Okay, looking good. We got nice stiff peak and it's time to move on. And it's Eggo time. We are preheating oven 375. Bake this for 7 to 8 minutes until golden brown. And it's nice and toasty. And for this, we wanted to use them all, so we don't have time to just cook, 2 at a time. Using half cup of sugar, half cup of water. Bring this to a boil just to melt the sugar. 2 tablespoons of brandy. And that was our second of 2 alcohols. So check. Sugar is completely melted. So I just wanted to brush some syrup because I find Eggo is a little bit dry. So I want to make it less dry and add some good adult flavor. All the Eggo are brushed with syrup. We are going to save this for later. 1 cup of sugar, half cup of water. Heat this up until 240 Fahrenheit. While I'm waiting, I'm going to whip egg whites to a soft peak, adding half teaspoon of cream of tartar. And I'm using room temperature egg whites because it whips faster. Temperature is 240, adding into the egg whites. So you want to pour hot sugar syrup into egg whites in a steady stream so the sugar evenly distributes to the egg whites. Another visual cue, if it's ready, egg whites become very glossy. It's nice, stiff peak, consistency of toothpaste. Okay, we made a beautiful Italian meringue and we are getting cross. We made a lot of components today, so let's recap. Whipped cream, Italian meringue, pudding, bourbon caramel, baked brandy syrup soaked Eggos. And I have my secret weapon, torch, but we're gonna use it later. And we're gonna start with bananas. I want to make this Eggo perfectly fit on my vessel, so I'm going to trim a little bit. And if you don't have smaller vessel like this, you can use any kind of container. I chose this because I want to show beautiful layers. And I'm going to use 2 Eggos per container. First layer is pudding, and layer 2 is Eggo. Layer 3 is bananas. You want to make an even layer, so you don't want to overwrap it. And caramel, then whipped cream. Want to make sure they have a nice, beautiful layer. And another Eggo. And more pudding. Next we got bananas. Have you seen how monkey peel banana?
No. How do they do it? Can you show us?
Yeah. I peel banana from here, but monkey peel banana from here, and it's easier. Shout out to monkey. And more caramel and Italian meringue. All right, and we're gonna torch it. Oh, nice. Beautiful. And we are done. Katie, welcome back to Make It Fancy.
Thank you for having me again.
I love your t-shirt. Where did you get it?
Cool. Oh, I just got it at shopmakeitfancy.com.
MakeItFancy.com?
Yeah, it's shop. You don't know your own website, Ria? It's shop.
Okay. What do you see? What do you think?
I'm seeing like a trifle, and it like it's giving me some baked Alaska vibes. Did you put this on fire?
Yes.
Yes, you did. Oh.
Yeah.
I wish I had seen it.
Fire is my friend.
That sounds scary.
Can you guess what I made fancy? Yeah.
I really can't. It's giving. I don't know.
It's hiding.
It's hiding.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yes.
Is there any booze in this?
Always. Double alcohol.
Double alcohol? Have you ever done triple alcohol?
Not yet.
Was it like a pancake?
Close.
It's a, well, okay.
Warmer?
I'm thinking it's an Eggo. 'Cause it's like, yes?
Yes! Yeah!
You're just a genius. And like, it is so fancy. Like you serve this to a queen.
Oh.
King. I think
Yeah.
Kate Middleton would eat that. Just a bit of it though.
What about Elizabeth? She's the queen.
She's the queen. Yeah.
I would love to go to her palace.
Go to oh my God, make it fancy in Buckingham Palace.
Yes.
This is a very fancy trifle. A British accent is
Make it fancy.
make it fancy. That's Australian? Not sure. Make it fancy.
Make it fancy.
Make it fancy.
I forgot how to do that. Hi, I'm Rie. I'm a tasty producer. Today, I've been challenged to take a common food and make it fancy. As a friendly reminder, you can get this shirt or other merch at shopmakeitfancy.com. Let's see what we are making fancy today. Oreos. I have cooked with this before a few times. Cookie is a little bit bitter. It's not too sweet, and the cream is, sweet side, so it's actually very well balanced cookie. It's round, so it's cute because anything round is cute. It's been a while since I had Oreo last time, so let's try. Smells nice, like cocoa powder, and they are saying they are using real cocoa. I like to eat, break half and eat cookie. Nice and crispy. So at Tasty, we've used Oreo a lot. But what I have in my mind is pretty ambitious, so it could be very difficult. I'm worried it might not work, but as always, I'm excited to make it fancy. All right, here's what I got. Buttermilk, heavy cream, whole milk, sour cream, butter, white chocolate, dark chocolate, and eggs. From the pantry, I got vegetable oil, cake flour, powdered sugar, all-purpose flour, sugar, instant coffee, cocoa powder, baking soda, baking powder, vanilla extract, salt, and Kahlua. All right, let's get started. Make it fancy. First, we are going to start with about 12 Oreos. I'm going to scrape the cream part. If you don't have offset spatula, you can just use butter knife or knife. Cream comes off pretty easily. It's tempting not to eat it. Grind up the cookie part. If you don't have food processor, you can just put it in a Ziploc bag and tap it with rolling pin or wine bottle. We have Oreo in Japan. I never seen fun flavors in Japan, but I went to Museum of Failure in Los Angeles a few years ago, and I saw a wall full of failed Oreo flavors. And one of them was Swedish fish, but some of them looks really nice, like cinnamon roll. So final texture should look like a sand. Sift ground up Oreo so it doesn't have a big chunk. I have 2 1/4 cup all-purpose flour, 1 cup and 2 tablespoons of cocoa powder, and shift, 3 cups of sugar, 1 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Gently mix. So my dry ingredients is ready. I'm gonna set aside. I have 3 eggs. Just loosen this up. 1 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of Kahlua. And if you don't want to use alcohol, you don't need to use it. But I like using alcohol, yes, so I use Kahlua. I have 1 1/2 cup of coffee. Coffee kind of gives nice adult flavor. And 1 1/2 cup of buttermilk. I think some country doesn't have buttermilk. If you don't have buttermilk in your country, you can use milk and you can squeeze a little bit of lemon juice. 3 1/4 cup of vegetable oil. Just mix. Well, mix wet ingredients to dry ingredients. You can just pour everything at once. This is a recipe I used to use when I was working at the restaurant. It's pretty good recipe, so I highly recommend you guys to make it at home.
Wait, did they use the Oreos at the restaurant?
We didn't use Oreo. Smells so good. I think the smell of Oreo powder and coffee and cocoa powder is very rich, and this is smell very fancy. The nice thing about glass bowl, you can see if it's not under mix. So this is done. I'm gonna set aside. I have 8x2-inch cake pan. I have 3 of them. For the parchment paper, we are making origami and flip the cake pan, find the center, cut straight, and you have perfect circle cake lining. Spray the pan, put the parchment paper, and make sure to spray on the side. Pour butter to each pan, evenly divided. We are going to bake this at 350 Fahrenheit, about 25 to 30 minutes, or you can poke this with toothpick, and if it comes out cleanly, it's ready. We have plenty more Oreos to use, so let's get to it. I have 12 Oreos. This is in a food processor. So this one I don't separate, just use it as is. Set this aside. 6 cups of powdered sugar, and I'm going to shift it. So the texture is same as the last time. It's almost like a sand. 3 sticks of softened butter. It's unsalted. Add pinch of salt, half teaspoon of vanilla. This is a leftover Oreo cream from cake mixture. Add that. 3 tablespoons of cream and blend until smooth texture. About 1/3 of powdered sugar. I'm doing in a small batches because if you add at once, the powdered sugar fly everywhere and you're gonna make a mess in the kitchen. Looks good. I'm gonna add the last batch. Fold this Oreo powder in a buttercream. You can see nice Oreo speckle in a buttercream. Oreo is very versatile. Oreo can be used for cheesecake bottom. Oreo can be used in ice cream. Oreo can be used in a pancake. A lot of transformation. But I'm not making any of those. Okay, I'm ready to move on. I have 2.5 cups of cake flour, half teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt. Again, we are mixing dry ingredients first and set aside. 5 eggs, and I'm going to separate, use each shell and kind of move back and forth. So for this cake, we are not gonna use egg yolks, we're gonna just use egg whites. I have 1 stick and a half butter, 1 3/4 cups of sugar, and cream them together about 2 minutes. And add egg whites, mix them about 2 minutes, and I have 1/2 cup sour cream. Mix until well combined. When you're using baking soda, you need some active agent. If you don't use it, you kind of have metallic flavor that baking soda has. Add dry ingredients at once. Okay, and then add 1 cup of milk. Okay, looks good. You're gonna spray the pan at the cake liner. Spray again. Make sure you spray on the side. Then pour. This kind of look like android blood. If you know, you know. So we are going to bake this at 350 Fahrenheit, about 25 to 30 minutes. If you are not sure if it's baked through, you can use the toothpick test again. So far it's a little bit simple, but next step is gonna be more ambitious. 20 grams of flour, 3 grams of powdered sugar, 5 grams of crumbled Oreo, and add a pinch of salt. Mix well, 1/4 cup of water and 1/4 cup of oil. And mix well. I already preheated pan over medium-high heat. Pour butter using ladle. You want to make sure pan is hot. You see this like nice bubble. I'm going to flip this. Once outside looks dry, it's ready, and you're gonna just put it on top of the paper towel. So this cookie should look like lacy and look like almost like coral. And you don't need to make perfect circle. If it's kind of abstract shape. It's also really cool. So this is what I was going for. This is something very crispy, not like a pancake or crepes. Breaks easily. It's like a cookie. Nice and crunchy. I'm going to finish rest of the batter and move on to next step. And I'm going to use more Oreos. I have 12 Oreos. Put it in a Ziploc. You just wanted to make it rough chunks, like pebble. So I have 12 ounce each white chocolate and dark chocolate. I'm going to microwave every 30 seconds until completely melted. And I'll be right back. Chocolate is melted. Pour chocolate over parchment lined baking sheet. Kind of spread evenly. If you don't have offset spatula, you can use spoons, knife, or rubber spatula. Sprinkle these Oreo bits. Do the same with dark chocolate. And spread nice and even again. And sprinkle Oreo bits. And you want to do this before chocolate is set, so Oreo sticks. This is super easy, cool dessert. You can put other stuff like pretzels and stuff. I'm going to put this in the refrigerator about 30 minutes until it sets nicely. We have Oreo cake, white cake, and Oreo buttercream. My white cake is a little bit domey on the top, so I'm going to trim a little bit using sladed knife. Give a little bit haircut. And my Oreo cake looks very even, so I don't need to trim it. I have a turntable and 8-inch cake board tape so it doesn't move around. First, I'm gonna put Oreo cake, about half a cup of buttercream, spread evenly, put white cake upside down, and another half cup frosting. And this is going to be tall cake, so instead of frosting the side part, at the end I'm frosting side now. Now for the third layer, another chocolate cake. So when you cut it, it kind of looks like Oreo. If your buttercream is too stiff, you can add 1 tablespoon milk to loosen it up. Spread evenly and cover the sides. The fourth layer, the white cake, another half cup Oreo buttercream. The last layer, oh my God, it's scary. This cake is wobbly. What if I cannot make it fancy? The end of the show. Thank you, everybody, coming along my journey. So when you are making tall cake like this, make sure cake is completely cooled so it doesn't fall apart. When you cool the cakes, it's become a little bit more stable. Also, you can use this kind of stick and just stick into the cake, so make it very stable. I feel like cake making is pretty close to construction work because you kind of paint the wall, carry heavy stuff, mixing stuff like cement. To use bench scraper to make it smooth. Make sure you are not pushing too hard. Hold lightly. Put the bench scraper 25 degrees against the cake. Make sure your hand is steady and not moving. And just move the turntable. We are going to put this in the refrigerator about 30 minutes so Oreo buttercream will set. I have Oreo coral cookie, strawberries, and raspberry for decoration, white chocolate bark, dark chocolate bark, and I have a little bit left over Oreo buttercream, and I have more Oreos. Break some Oreo bark, kind of going for abstract shape, so I want to break it a little longer. You can adjust the size later. Using dab of buttercream as a glue, it's kind of improvised design. So I am not sure how it's gonna turn out. I'm gonna just hope it look beautiful and fancy. The nice thing about it, it has a nice hold, so you can still see nice Oreo speckle buttercream. I'm using white Oreo bark, dark Oreo bark. Right now it looks like Japanese armor and it looks really cool. There is no right or wrong, so just follow your heart. I want to put some Oreo. I have a secret weapon. It's a gold spray, just like spray and dust it off. I'm gonna use couple raspberries just to make the color pop. Strawberries. Put some icing on the strawberry and just put around here so it doesn't roll. The last piece of coral, and we are done. Gothic abstract Oreo cake, very fancy. All right, time to give this a try. This is very tall cake. I just cut a small piece for myself. I have white cake, Oreo buttercream, Oreo cookie, and maybe I'm gonna eat some of Oreo bark. The cake is very moist, it's not dry. Cookie is very crunchy and tasty. It cannot go any fancier than this. Mount fancy. So inside is layer of black and white, so it just looks like Oreo. Overall, I'm so happy how it turned out. I highly recommend you to make at home. If you make at home, please tag me on my Instagram and don't forget to dance, make it fancy. Hi, I'm Rie. I'm a tasty producer. Today, I've been challenged to take a common food and make it fancy. Let's see what we are making fancy today. Drum roll. Instant stuffing. As a new match says, I've never tried this before. My expectation is probably too dry and not too flavorful, but let's try this. It almost looks like a savory bread pudding. It tastes like instant ramen noodle. This is just hot water, butter, and this stuffing mix. This is a little bit tricky, but I do have a cool idea. As always, I'm excited to make it fancy. All right, here's what I got. Parsley, thyme, mushrooms, prosciutto, dried mushroom, dried cranberries, heavy cream, chicken stock, butter, puff pastry, onion, rosemary, sage, garlic, celery, shallot, and turkey breast. From the pantry, I got soy sauce, flour, eggs, and sparkling wine. Okay, let's get started. Make it fancy. Thanksgiving edition. So first, I'm going to melt 2 tablespoons of butter over medium heat. And while it's melting, I'm going to chop garlic. Just crush. Mince the garlic. So butter is melted. Add onion. So it's a half large onion and 1 stalk of celery. Saute until it's softened. Chop rosemary very fine too.
So Ray, what was your introduction to Thanksgiving?
I think maybe when I moved to the States, I was invited to my friend's giving. Turkey looks a little creepy too. Like it has the thingy on the underneath their chin. Add a little bit salt, just a pinch so it will cook a little faster.
Are you surprised when you saw what Black Friday was?
I don't like crowded place. Like I feel like if I'm in that circumstance, I get so stressed out. So I prefer Cyber Monday. Okay, so onion and celery is softened, so I'm going to add garlic. And you want to add garlic a little bit later on the cooking process because garlic tend to burn. So make sure cook onion and celery first. Thyme is already like small leaf, so I'm going to use my fingers, put them in, adding the rosemary I just chopped. It's about 1 tablespoon. So onion is softened and translucent, so it is ready. I'm adding 1 box of stuffing and toss them well. So this is combined. Rest in here. Warm up 1.5 cup of chicken stock, 4 tablespoons of butter. So chicken stock and butter is reached to a boil, so I'm going to pour over and start to combine. Once it is kind of soak up all the chicken stock and butter, take off from the heat, cover the lid, and steam for about 5 minutes.
When do you think that the stovetop instant stuffing was invented?
I feel like those kind of instant thing was popular in 70s. So I would say 1973.
1972.
Oh, I was gonna say too. So if you're just using instant stuffing mix, you are just using water and butter, but I'm adding onion and celery and herbs and cranberry. So it has more texture and flavor. It looks like absorb all the moisture. So I'm going to add chopped parsley, 2 tablespoons of cranberries. It kind of gives nice tanginess. Okay, so this is looking good and it is colorful and pretty. So I'm going to let it cool. Let's move on to next step. Okay, so we have turkey breast. I always feel like turkey is giant. This is only one breast. Cut them in half, butterfly cut, open it up. We're gonna use plastic. I'm going to use hammer and make it thinner. Pound very thin, about 1/4 inch. Season with salt, season from high, so you are seasoning evenly. And season with pepper, spread cold stuffing evenly. You want to spread and kind of use your hand and pat it evenly. Roll. I think this dish will be perfect for smaller gathering. Tie with twine. So I tied this up and it feels secure. Oil is heating in a pan over medium-high heat, and I'm going to sear turkey golden brown, each side about 3 minutes each. Sear the side as well, and you kind of have to lift it up and sear. A nice golden brown all sides. Transfer to a sheet pan, but I need one more tongue. Okay, so I'm going to transfer. It's so heavy. Maybe I'm gonna just use the pan. Wait, me versus turkey. Okay, I'm gonna just, Okay, so it was me versus turkey. I won, and we're gonna move on to next step. So I have prosciutto. I have plastic on the table, and I'm going to layer prosciutto, a little bit overlap each other. The prosciutto is usually cut very thin, so try not to break it, but even you break it, it's okay. I love prosciutto. I was so sad when I found out I cannot eat any cured meat during pregnancy, and I layered 5 of them right underneath it. Another 5 prosciutto, just like a little bit overlap each other. Wrap turkey in a prosciutto blanket. Don't forget to cut twine. Yeah, if you forget it, you end up eating this like string. No one wants that. Wrap it up. Right now the end is a little bit loose, but don't worry about it. We will clean it up. Okay, so use this plastic like very tight. We are going to press against the surface as tight as you can and look like very plump. Tie on the end like a candy. I'm very proud of my me baby.
Is it cute?
This is not cute because it's not round. It's almost cute. So I'm going to put this in the refrigerator to chill about 15 minutes. So my me baby is chill. Sprinkle flour on the surface, and I'm going to use puff pastry. I think I will need about 5 to use water to glue together. Use your finger and dip in the water and press down with your finger. Need a little bit more flour with a rolling pin. Roll this puff pastry a little bit larger. So it look like big enough to wrap everything. And wrap, put egg wash on the end to seal. Transfer to the baking sheet. Close the end like wrapping the gift. Use egg wash and seal the end. Put this in the fridge about 50 minutes and we have more things to make. So I have another sheet of puff pastry and I'm going to make decoration. I will need about 5 strips, ½ inch each. I'm not good at freehanding, even like hanging picture on the wall. I always put something Cricut. If you don't have this tool, you don't need to use it. You can use a knife, you can use the bench scraper, you can use pizza cutter, whatever you have. I have this nice cute cookie cutter. It looks like a leaf, and also use flour so it doesn't stick to the puff pastry, and press down, and I made this cool looking leaves for decorations. So this has been chilled in the fridge. Use egg wash, brush it all over so the decoration can stick. This will give you nice shine when you bake. Starting with the long strip, kind of alternating each other so it's like a lattice. And putting down my leaves now. And I'm using egg wash to stick them to the log. Put more egg wash on the decoration. Feel like I'm a Bob Ross of the cooking. Decoration is done, and I'm going to top with flaky salt. I'm going to bake this in oven 400 Fahrenheit about 20 minutes, and then I'm going to reduce the oven to 350, bake another 1 hour. This is very heavy, about 1 cup. I have 1 cup of chicken stock. Ooh, I'm going to bring this to a boil. I'm adding 1 ounce of dried porcini mushroom. Turn off the heat, put the lid on top, and steep for 30 minutes. We have some mushrooms. I think this is shimeji mushroom, but you can just use like whatever mushroom you can find at the store. We found this mushroom medley. All the mushroom is small bite size, and I'm going to saute. I'm heating up the pan over medium heat, melting butter, 1 tablespoon. I'm sauteing 1 shallot, finely chopped, adding a little bit of salt. So once shallot is translucent, add the mushroom and saute. Add some salt to season. Give a nice toss. Add the thyme. Cook the mushroom 5 to 7 minutes until moisture is evaporated. Adding a ½ cup of sparkling wine and cook for 3 to 4 minutes over high heat until all the sparkling wine is evaporated. So I think sparkling wine will add a nice adult flavor, and it's both my favorite thing, mushroom and sparkling wine. Adding 1 tablespoon of flour, cook for 1 to 2 minutes. Just want to eliminate those kind of raw flour flavor. And then I strain porcini mushroom. While it's cooking, I'm going to chop this. I like porcini mushroom. I like any kind of mushroom. I've never met mushroom I don't like. Add to this. Saute about 2-3 minutes. This is a reserved mushroom soaking water. It gives nice flavor, so I'm going to add that. ½ cup of heavy cream. Adding around 2 teaspoons of soy sauce to taste. Soy sauce will give some nice umami flavor to it. I'm going to bring it to a boil, simmer until thickens. If you don't want to use alcohol, it's totally fine. Just use 2 tablespoons of vinegar for degrades. This is looking good, and I'm ready to move on. It's perfectly baked, golden brown. I'm so glad those kind of details is still showing, pretty leaves and flaky salt and nice lattice. And I have some leftover herbs, so I'm going to use this for decoration. Just give nice, holiday vibes. I'm using 2 spatula and put in the middle, and we are done. Thanksgiving Turkey Wellington. Very fancy. I'm so excited to give this a try. Give some nice gravy, a little chunky. I love this spiral. Looks so pretty. It's really delicious. Cranberries and herbs improved stuffing a lot. Prosciutto gives nice saltiness to the turkey because turkey is a little bit blunt flavor. And I think I love this gravy. The puff pastry gives nice like a little bit sweetness to it. Crispy on the outside and tender on the inside. Overall, I'm so happy how it turned out. Thanksgiving dinner in one bite. Thank you so much for watching. I highly recommend you to make at home. When you make it, please tag me on Instagram and don't forget to dance. Make it fancy.